Voyager 1 has been around for nearly 50 years, traveling alone through the vast, silent beyond of our solar system empty space. An aging spacecraft drifting farther than any man-made object in history, deeper than any investigation has ventured. It has been regarded as a ghost ship for a long time, silently carrying the hopes, data, and memories of a distant Earth through the cosmos. The scientists had no expectations other than the steady decline of signals as its power waned and systems got older. However, just when they believed Voyager 1 had entered its final chapter, something truly unprecedented happened. The spacecraft changed its course not as a response to an earthly instruction, not as the result of mechanical failure, but presumably of its own judgment. Still more disturbingly, just days before this change in trajectory, Voyager 1 picked up a sound, a low-frequency hum with no identifiable origin, no match in NASA's records, and no scientific explanation. And now, with its antenna still pointed toward Earth, Voyager is returning or being pulled. What took place out there in the shadows? What did it see that made it turn? To comprehend how remarkable this moment truly is, we must return to the beginning. In 1977, NASA launched two spacecraft, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Originally designed to take advantage of an extremely rare alignment of the planets, an alignment that only occurs once every 176 years, the mission was meant to perform a grand tour of the outer planets, making use of the gravity slingshot effect of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune to propel the probes deeper into the solar system. Voyager 1 was given the task of flying by Jupiter and Saturn, capturing the first-ever close-up images of their moons and rings. The images it sent back in the late 70s and early 80s redefined planetary science. Volcanoes erupting on Io, the complex ring structures of Saturn, Titan's enigmatic haze, and so much more. However, once Voyager 1 had completed its planetary mission, it kept going. It passed beyond the orbit of Pluto, beyond the heliosphere, and into interstellar space, which had never before been impacted by human technology. With each passing year, it sent back less data but held on to one unshakable purpose: to continue exploring, even as its systems grew colder and weaker, even as the light from our sun became a memory rather than a presence. For decades, Voyager 1 transmitted signals back to Earth, mostly weak, heavily delayed packets of data about the density of the plasma, magnetic fields, and cosmic rays. However, on a quiet day into its 46th year in space, its instruments recorded something it had never detected before: a faint, continuous hum in the plasma wave frequencies. Scientists initially believed it was interference or a malfunction in the aging instruments. However, when the same reading showed up repeatedly and was confirmed by a number of antennas in the Deep Space Network, concerns grew. The sound resembled no known occurrence in space. It lacked the cosmicity of background radiation. It wasn't a solar flare. It wasn't coming from any direction they could triangulate. More hauntingly, it seemed to fluctuate in perfect mathematical intervals, like a message that should not have been heard but was documented. For several weeks, engineers and astrophysicists pored over the data, cross-referencing it with every known cosmic event, but no explanation came. Then, without warning, Voyager 1 initiated a subtle but measurable change in its trajectory, a deviation no one at NASA had commanded. And just like that, the question changed from "what did we hear?" to "who or what heard us?" Voyager 1 is powered by an aging radioisotope thermoelectric generator, and its maneuverability is limited to tiny adjustments through thrusters that have not been used in decades. Telemetry, however, confirmed it. The spacecraft's attitude and orientation had changed slightly but definitively, as if adjusting to see more clearly or align with something in deep space. Engineers scrambled to determine whether it was the result of a pre-programmed fallback behavior, perhaps an outdated line of code finally triggering due to a sensor anomaly. But the logs showed no such command. More perplexing was the fact that this change in course placed Voyager's camera array, which had been shut down since the 1990 pale blue dot image, facing a direction toward which no celestial object was known to exist. The area in question had no stars visible to the naked eye, no galaxies recorded, no gravitational anomalies recorded. So why point there? What had Voyager seen in its instruments? And why had it reoriented so precisely? At more than 15 billion miles away from Earth, there is no autopilot, no corrections, no assistance. And yet, Voyager made a decision, or so it would appear. What transpired in the weeks that followed the trajectory shift was, if possible, even more disturbing. The Voyager 1 transmissions began arriving with subtle alterations, minor distortions in signal timing and frequency that, upon closer inspection, revealed embedded patterns deep in the data stream. These were not errors in transmission, they were deliberate modulations, repetitions across multiple packets, forming complex sequences reminiscent of binary logic and harmonic resonance. Researchers at JPL consulted AI experts, cryptographers, and linguists. Some suggested these patterns may depict a type of response or recognition, as if Voyager was not just observing something but receiving reciprocal attention. The notion that the signal could be a two-way communication, one begun by Earth nearly 5 decades ago with the launch of the Golden Record, has raised unsettling possibilities. Could Voyager have encountered an intelligence that doesn't emit signals in the frequency bands we use, but instead uses gravitational waves, magnetic distortion, or some unknown means of communication? And in that case, has that intelligence noticed us? Following the correction to the course, high-level meetings and signal distortions began to unfold behind closed doors. At Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, a select group of engineers, physicists, and mission veterans were summoned to review the anomaly. What was originally considered a minor deviation quickly became a heated argument between experts. Some argued it was a last gasp from a dying spacecraft, a final error, an error caused by failing hardware. But others, who were examining the consistency of the altered signal and the precise directional change, suggested something far more alarming, that Voyager 1 might have encountered an unknown gravitational or electromagnetic phenomenon, or worse, that it was responding in a way that is not naturally occurring. With each new data burst received, patterns became harder to ignore, symmetrical geometric ratios, intervals, and hints of harmonic feedback, a deliberate structure, as if something was mirroring or mimicking the probe's activity. The JPL team, torn between awe and skepticism, discovered themselves asking a question no space agency is ever truly prepared to answer. What do we do if this isn't random? As whispers of the date a leak reached the broader community of scientists, a wave of independent analysis emerged from universities and observatories around the world. Several prominent physicists proposed a radical theory that Voyager 1 may have entered a dark matter field interaction or even brushed against a region of spacetime distortion, the type assumed in the presence of massive gravitational anomalies or exotic astrophysical objects. But one paper in particular caused widespread discomfort. A group of AI researchers had used pattern recognition software to examine the altered signal and discovered that it seemed to replicate aspects of the Arecibo message, the binary radio transmission humanity sent to the stars in 1974. Some of the sequences Voyager was now receiving had mathematical overlaps with that message, which brought the chilling possibility that some form of our signal had been received by intelligence and was responding, now employing Voyager as a relay. Was this a coincidence born of cosmic noise or a cosmic reply? Carl Sagan was aboard Voyager 1 when it was launched, and a small team of scientists placed aboard it one of humanity's most iconic artifacts. The Golden Record, a copper disc coated in gold, containing greetings in 55 languages, music from multiple cultures, and diagrams from science intended to introduce Earth and its inhabitants to any life form that might one day find it. Most thought of it as symbolic, a romantic gesture more than a real attempt at communication. But now, with Voyager showing signs of deviation and possible interaction, that record has received a second look. Some now speculate whether it may have contained decoded data or been interpreted by a Voyager-related entity passed near. After all, the diagrams include detailed maps of Earth's location relative to known pulsars. If anything or anyone understood it, then Voyager 1 isn't just a relic. It's a beacon which has been transporting our coordinates for almost 50 years. If that light could be heard, the implications are staggering, not just scientifically, but for the future of human security and existence. As additional data layers are decoded and the signal's internal evolution continues, documents from NASA suggest a quiet shift in protocol. Project members have reportedly been instructed to cease speculation about things that aren't natural in official communications and instead classify the event under data anomaly review. But off the record, some insiders admit they're deeply disturbed because what Voyager seems to be experiencing doesn't match any known astrophysical behavior. It behaves like an encounter. It reflects like intelligence. And it adapts like something that's aware. There's growing fear, not just of what it is, but of what it means. If a machine drifting through the most isolated place in the known universe has encountered a presence, a signal, or a field that responds to its movements, then we're facing a question we have never been asked, not what is out there, but rather, has something been watching us this entire time? Voyager 1 was never supposed to last this long. It wasn't built to whisper across the stars for nearly half a century, and it was definitely not designed to even make contact, respond, or to something beyond our known reality. But that's exactly what it may have done. What started as a mission to explore our outer planets has become a story of cosmic proportions, a moment where science is at odds with reality, philosophy, and awe gives way to unease. The spacecraft, veering silently more than 15 billion miles from home, may have found something. Or it's possible that something found it. The signal distortions, the impossible course correction, the mirrored patterns, the echo that didn't belong to us, it all points to a single breathtaking possibility. Voyager may not have made initial real contact with the kind of intelligent life we imagine, but with something else, something vast, something structured, something watching. If this is the conclusion of Voyager's journey, it does not come to an end in silence, but with a question loud enough to shake the very foundations of everything we understand. What if we are no longer the observers, but the observed? Now it's your turn. Do you believe Voyager 1 has truly encountered something unnatural? Is this the beginning of a new era in space exploration, or the closing act of a story we were never meant to hear? Let us know in the comments what you think. And if this story left you questioning everything, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and share this video with someone who still believes that magic exists, genuinely terrifying, beautiful magic out there in the stars. Because Voyager ended up doing more than just send back data. It sent back a message. And maybe, just maybe, we're no longer the only ones listening.